But your camera is upside down. Vice, you ready to go? Anas, Anas, sige. Sige, Anas.
You have two on. You have to switch off one. Okay. Okay. You're good. The Sigi is on.
Vice is back.
No, he's coming back. I'll let you know when he comes back. So I'll just keep the music going.
He's calling. He's calling. Vice, then you'll lose that. Vice, wow, we lost you.
I'm still there. Or you want me to sign in again?
Yeah, you have to sign in again when you go out. Yeah. Yeah, just sign in again. Hello?
Well, I don't know when you get the sign up line again.
Okay.
Okay, I'm in now, it says.
All right. Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of Talking Sports here on Linger Post by way of Washington, D.C. I am Tijan Masani Sise. Again, our guest, part two of our initial program is Bai Malleh Wadda. In our last program, we talked about Real de Banjul. Today, we will talk about the greatest athlete in the history of Gambian sports, Bai Malleh Wadda. Bais, welcome back.
Thank you, Tijan. Hello
Now,
to everyone.
go ahead.
Good to be back.
Thank you. It's a pleasure having you on Linger Post on Talking Sports. Let's go back to 1975. This is a 15-and-a-half-year-old boy playing at the Stade Omnisport in Mali, which was a different stadium from all the other stadiums that I've seen in Africa. It was one that sat below a hill, and you know that hill probably holds 10,000 people. What was the feeling being this young kid having to play against greats like Salif Keita, and Seydou Jara of Joliba?
Tijan, I'm struggling to hear you.
Okay, let's go back. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to go back to Mali, start Omnisport. There is no stadium that looks like Stade Omnisport with people above the hill watching. What was it like, a 15-year-old in that green dyed, if you remember, the uniform that you had on was a green dyed jersey. What was it like playing before 15,000 people
Well, Tijan,
in a half?
it was electric. My first time, I think there must have been over 30,000 people there. And like you say, it's an intimidating place with a lot of the supporters on top of the hills overlooking the stadium. And this was my first international game, and it was at night. And that was my first night game also, because in those days we didn't have lights at the box bar or at any playing pitch in the Gambia. But the atmosphere was electric, and when they announced my name and my age, there was a lot of mumbling among the crowd and so forth. And like I said, within few minutes the butterflies were gone, and I was excited about my first international. And I recalled, the sort of atmosphere in that, because of the age they announced. Every time I caught the ball, I got, the crowd to clap for me and so forth. So it was exciting. It was electric. And, it was an anxious moment also for a young man like me at the time.
Let's talk about the World University Games in Bulgaria in
Well,
1977.
I just want to add one thing, that at the time I was there with my brother Jim. He was ill, but he gave me a lot of assurance, and that boosted my confidence also. Because he was the one to play in that game, but he fell ill, and I had to play. So, but he gave me a lot of support at the time.
That would be the great Jim Elastic, the man that never conceded a goal from Biri. I think he's the only goalkeeper. Maybe you
Yeah,
too, but
exactly.
he's on record. Now, you were also the best high school athlete in track and field. I remember the triple jump, 45 feet 9 inches. That is unheard of. Long jump and the high jump. And you won the Victor Lodorum Trophy as the best athlete, if I recall, 3 years in a row. And you went to the World University Games in Bulgaria as the lone representative of the Gambia, and you made it to a few rounds competing against future Olympians. What was that experience like, being at the World University Games?
Tijan, that is one of the greatest experiences for me as far as sports is concerned, in the sense that I was competing, as you mentioned, in the triple jump with the world record holder at the time, a Brazilian. I think his name was Oliveira or Olivia or something. And just having like a chat with him between jumps and so forth was such an amazing experience. And not just that, I was there at the time with the sort of fastest people on earth. I can't remember the American name, but he was the fastest
Samba, you're out, right? Okay.
That was my 100.
Huh?
It
Wow.
looks like we have Bai Malleh Wadda again.
Yes,
Sorry there. 328 07
Tijan, can
Yes,
you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
100 la muka chibi. You can hear me, Tijan?
I can hear you with the side conversations too.
Okay.
All right, we were talking about you at the World University Games in Bulgaria.
Yeah.
All right, you stopped at talking about competing against world stars like the record holder in the 50. So you can continue from there.
Okay. Yeah, Tijan, the World University Games was such a huge experience and a big motivation and inspiration for me to sort of do better. Because, like I said, competing with with world record holders at the time and top sprinters winning games. I think I'm trying to remember this guy, short sprinter from the US, that I actually became close with to some extent during the games. But I can't remember the
Was his
name
name
now.
was his name Calvin?
Huh?
Was his name Calvin?
Kelvin.
Calvin. Calvin. I think it had to be
Calvin.
Calvin Johnson or Calvin Smith, if I remember.
Calvin Johnson.
Okay.
Maybe I can't remember the name, but I know that he was a top sprinter at the time, and was representing the USA. Was the top college guy. He was a short guy, and I think afterwards went to the Olympics and so forth. But it was just some phenomenal experience and exposure at the time,
Okay.
and a big motivation and inspiration
Okay. When
As
we
you
talk about
mentioned,
when
sorry.
we go ahead.
No, I was saying you mentioned winning triple jump, long jump, and high jump 3 years in a row, and also being on the school relay team
I
and
remember
winning the
that.
gold medal 3 years in a row.
And I remember the beauty of you handing over the baton from number three to Omar Fai, Sheriff
Yes.
Omboy. I,
Yeah.
I, I recall that with great nostalgia indeed.
Yeah, we had a good relay team. I think it was Modumane started. I think I was second. Then Omar Faid and Boy was uncle, something like that. Or I
That
was
that
number three, but I was
you
in
were
that relay team.
you actually were number three,
Hmm.
and that was your last year in 1978. I remember 77. I
Yeah,
remember that, and the year
yeah.
before
The
that,
year before, I think
number
I
two.
was number two. Then
Yeah.
last year I was number three or something like that.
Yes.
But we came out first anyway in all those events.
Um,
And
the, the
after
reason
the World University Games, uh, when I got to the US, my college didn't have athletics. I tried to train with the high school team, but the level was much lower. And in the end, that was like basically the end of my athletics career. And I just focused at Elmira on playing basketball and soccer, football.
I want to talk about basketball.
Yeah.
Um, you were among, if not the first, I think, apart from Sonny Joyner, that played NCAA basketball. Now, you were a point guard in the Gambia. What was when you came back and you saw the difference in the game, the way it was played in the Gambia and the way basketball was played here in the States? What did it take for you to adjust to the US style of play?
Well, for me, it was exciting coming back, and it was actually the sort of start of the Michael Jordan era in basketball, and that was like the early '80s, mid '80s, and I had always been a fan of Dr. J from the '70s into the '80s, and then Michael Jordan was coming into the scene. Magic Johnson was coming in, Larry Bird, and all these things. And I was exposed to these people, watching them on a daily basis. And then going to practice in the US, where it was a little bit more specialized rather than what I was used to in Gambia, which is just 5 against 5. We run around, shoot, and play. And then seeing that. The sport has specialists, and you had point guards, and their main role was assist, distribution, and so forth. Then you had like a shooting guard, and then you have a small forward, a big forward, and a center. And that's how the game was being played. Whilst for us, it was not that way in the Gambia. We were just running around shooting. There were some good shooters, and there were few people that could handle the ball. But then seeing how they train, where people did special drills because of the positions they played, was exciting enough for me. And then, as you mentioned, Sonny Joyner being, I think, the first Gambian to play college basketball in the US, was back home already and was player coach for the team I played for since. And he brought a lot of changes in how we train and how we prepared for games. And I think we went a couple of years without losing a game. And for me, again, like I said, the experience in the US, the different training schemes and the different ways they try to develop players was a plus. And I try to also share that and bring that into Gambia. And after Sonny left, I started coaching the basketball team at Saints and try to implement some of these things and run a lot of drills and so forth instead of just five aside and just playing without any scheme. So that was a huge experience going to the States and experiencing college basketball, and also being able to make the team. Because when I went out for the team, the coach was like, "I'm sorry, I don't think you can make my team from Africa. It would be difficult, blah blah blah." But I was determined, and when he saw that I was better than some of the people he recruited, he included me in the team, and I was like a walk-on, what they call a walk-on in the States, not recruited for basketball.
Fantastic. Now, you are by far the greatest all-round athlete in the Gambia ever. You're the only known man to represent your country in more than 5 sports at international level. When you hear that accolade, what do you how do you feel?
Well, I mean, Tijan, I think one thing is I grew up in a sporting family, and I saw my uncles, I saw my brothers, all of them older, all of them involved in sports. And I love sports. I wanted to play any opportunity, any sport, and all sport. And I learned at an early stage of my life that to be a good athlete, number one is fitness. You needed to be very fit. And from the age of 11, 12, I was training with Real de Banjul and sometimes running from ABC to Denton Bridge and back. And I was able to develop a lot of stamina and fitness. And I tell some of my players now that I sometimes used to go home and do 200 sit ups because I felt I needed to have a strong core middle section of my body. It needed to be developed to help me with my balance, with my jumping, with a lot of things. So I really worked on my fitness. Then I always credit a lot of things to the training film I saw of Pele, Master and his method. And I, at the time, and I still believe that Pele is the greatest footballer ever. And I saw how hard he trained, how much he worked on improving his skills. So I came out with a theory that you need five things to be a good athlete and in any sport. And those five things were: number one, fitness; number two, skill; number three, technique; number four is tactic, where you use your techniques on the pitch and different places; and number five was situations, game situation. And if you understand these five principles with any sport, I think you can be good in that sport, provided that you are in good shape. Because fitness for me is number one in every and all sport, and actually in life itself. If you are fit and healthy, you have capacity to do almost anything you want in this world. And I work on those things, and it helped me in my sporting career, and it got me to be a bit ahead of my counterparts in the Gambia, because I had this understanding. And like I said, number one, I was always almost fitter than most of the people I compete against.
Okay. Now, on your return to the Gambia in 1982, I recall I was the first person you met at Boutique Chair. and we went to Goff's office. You remember that?
Yes. Actually,
Ah,
no, you came with Goff to my house the next day.
okay, precisely.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, let's. I'm going to try to put young Africans aside and go straight to the Gambia national team. Playing for the. Let first of all, let me put on the record. For I know there's been some debate on who has the most goals for the Gambia national team. I can safely say Bai Malleh Wadda with 22 goals, straight up. Now,
Yeah.
let's go.
Tijan, I can easily recall up to 18, 20 goals. I think I might have scored maybe 22, maximum maybe 24.
I I can
But
tell you it's 22 on the money.
yeah, yeah,
Because in between the two zone twos you scored 10 goals
yeah,
and you've got six against Mauritania. I know you've scored against Freetown, you've scored against Guinea, you've scored against Mali. So safely 22 goals. Now let's go to the Gambia national team. I spent my formative years. We lost him again, yeah? Well, technology has failed us yet again. We will try to bring back to do part two whenever technology on the other side of the Atlantic allows us to do so. Again, we regret the inconvenience, but that's what it is. Till we come your way again, so long, Tijan Masani Sise, goodbye.
hello, hello, Tijan.
Tijan is coming. 1 minute.
Okay.
1 second.
Bai Malleh, are you back?
Yes, I'm back.
Okay, we were talking about the Gambia national team,
Yeah.
and I said I spent my formative years camped with you guys, see the hardships that you went through. Now, with the recent success of the Gambian team in Yaoundé, with everything at their disposal, I know for a fact they did not have better talent than you guys. Going back with the talent that you had, Dudu Sen, yourself, Alaji Sar, Lamin Owens, Babu Saho, Joe Gomez, Laos, Sehu Sar, Komi Owens, Bill Baji, Gabo Ture, Sol Samba. I mean, with that kind of talent that you had, that talent pool, let's fast forward today. With all the resources that is at the disposal of today's football, if I go on the record and say, with that talent, we could have lifted the Africa Cup of Nations, would you agree with me?
Yes, Tijan, because actually I always say to people that we were we were so talented, but we were like a ragtag army. When you look at us, and it was difficult, you know, in the sense that all the other countries that we played against had far more facilities, far more resources, and everything compared to us. But we were such a sort of um, tough opponent because we wanted to sort of suppress any complex, because these teams used to come and try to assert themselves as big boys to us. And we had some strong personalities in that team and some very skilled people in that team, and we were determined to put our mark and not be intimidated also. Because I remember I tell some of the boys that we could not beat Senegal because of psychological reason, not because they were a better team at certain times, but psychologically they came with this superiority complex, and we were sometimes even better than them, but they always won because psychologically they play on us, and we get angry, we get all into a mess. And I remember a few games that we lost to them that we should never have lost. But like I said, psychologically, they felt they were better and they know how to sort of, scratch us at the wrong places. So most of the guys played against them with a lot of anger and, that kind of thing. And that always affected our performance against them. But I think we had a team at the time. Actually, I think the highest ranking we got at that time was about 17th or 15th in Africa at one time. And we have a capability at the time to go to Africa Cup of Nations. But I think we just lacked the support, the resources to really get the team to Africa Cup of Nations. Because the teams that were going, we were giving them a hell lot of a tough time, and even Ghana in their heydays, we've given them a tough time. Um, you mentioned Cote d'Ivoire with them hosting in 84 or 85, somewhere around that time, and we were giving them a tough time. Guinea, we were beating at that time
I
regularly. Mali, we were beating. Mauritania, we were beating regularly. And
of course.
all these people went to the Africa Cup of Nations before us. And I think if we had the support that we should have had then, I think we could have made it to the Africa Cup of Nations because we had such a talented team. But like I said, we were a ragtag army and didn't was not even well equipped. in the sense of the game at the time, because most of us were using our own shoes and a lot of other things. Sometimes even modern day, everybody is well uniform. They have all these coaches and goalkeeper, the coach, and we didn't have all that. Fortunately, we had Shea Hussar at the time, and he was a very good coach, and he prepared us well. I would also say that Cherno Toure was my first international coach, and he's still alive. And I am like, Gambia never appreciates the best of what they have. But for me, I think Cherno has been the greatest influence in sports and sports development in the Gambia. Um, he, I think, is still involved with the Football Association in some capacity. He's age now, but I think Cherno should have been someone, recognized and appreciated as far as Gambian sports is concerned, because he has developed a lot of Gambian athletes in the past, and he himself was a good athlete. But if I ask these kids, do you know Cherno Toure? Most of them say, who? They don't know him. And that's also part of the problem with us, Tijan. We're not that a sporting nation. So when you have talent and your skills here, you are at your own mercy and the support of the few people that appreciate or realize your talent and your skills. So we could not get to that level because we didn't get too much support, either from the public sector or the private sector. And it was just few people, mostly the Usainu Njais, the fiscals, that were pushing and trying to support sports. But there was little from government or little from private sector or other people. So with that said, it just shows that um, if we had support, I think we could have accomplished something at that stage. Now that this generation are getting a lot of support, a lot of talent with a lot of skills, but I think we need to improve and nurture these things locally. But to do that, we need better facilities and better support, which is sometimes not there. And I also feel that we are not judiciously utilizing the resources available for sports in this country, and that hinders and doesn't help sports and sports development.
Okay. Now, still on the Gambia national team.
Should I
Uh, are you there?
continue?
Yes. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I am going back to the national team.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a lot of goals you scored, and most of them came from the left. What was this chemistry between you and the late Sol Samba? Even though
Well,
by day
mhm.
you were best friends, by night you were enemies, and you were roommates too. when we traveled. You were roommates.
Yeah,
What
we
was
were
the
roommates, and I think
I know.
I chat with him quite often in our room. And we before games, I talk to him. After games, I talk to him. So we had a chemistry going, you know.
Oh boy. I guess this interview is way too good to abort. So we will wait for Bai Malleh Wadda to gain connection again, and as soon as he does, we will continue the program. It is Talking Sports, and my guest is no other but Bai Malleh Mustafa Wadda. In football circles, they call him Wadda 14 or BMW. Boramboy calls him the Bionic Man. Soljai calls him Dizzle Dazzle Male. And I call him the man that defies gravity. The man that defies gravity. So we'll wait for him as soon as he gets connection and we are able to transmit back to Banjul. Talking Sports will return.
Huh?
Why you know?
I am there, Bice. You're back.
Trial, you know. Yes, I'm back, Tijan.
So we were talking about the chemistry between you and Sol Samba of blessed memory. I have
Yes.
seen him bust from the left and wave that left hand to you as if to say, I'm coming to you in the 18. He did it against Sierra Leone when we won the Four Nation tournament that was opening the Independence Stadium in December of 84. When you went against both a goalkeeper who was the best goalkeeper at the time, BK, Brian Atuga Kamara, and the big Joseph Toby, if you remember the sweeper for Sierra Leone. He gave you that beautiful cross and you beat both of them. You were in the middle. What a beautiful goal it was with a header. So, and I've seen you and Saul do that many, many times.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, Tijan, Saul was a good crosser of the ball. He was a good dribbler of the ball. And with that goal you talked about, Saul was in a tight corner on the right flank. And I knew that he was going to give a short corner because it was tight for him. And I sneaked in between Toby and BK, Brahma Koroma, the goalkeeper, Sierra Leonean goalkeeper. And I jumped before any of them because I was expecting a short cross. And, when the ball came, the rest was history. Um, I anticipated a short cross to the first post, and I faked back post. Toby was man to man on me. I faked him on the back post and ran for the first post. Before he got there, I was able to head the ball because Toby was such a big guy,
Solid,
tall, much taller than me, very
solid,
big.
solid.
Sorry?
I said he was solid.
Yes, very. And throughout the game, he tried to play me man to man. But I was able to sneak past him and score that goal. That won us the inaugural tournament to open the Independence Stadium.
Now, there are two other kids that you've played with in the national team, and I know you admired them. I've had you call one of them one of the smartest players you've played with. And I'm going to give you to just give me a line on each of them. Joe Sambu, Bruno Conti.
Joe, fantastic crosser of the ball. He read the game very well. He was a very smart player. And he also was very good providing assists and scored some beautiful goals too coming through that flank. I think Joe was also one of the players I had good chemistry with because we also played at Young Africans. And before you ask me, I will have to bring Assis in.
That was the next
And
person I was going to say.
well, for me, I haven't seen a better dribbler, a better person with the ball as far as Gambian football is concerned. And I felt that with his and everything, I don't need focus, but I think as far as I know, for me, he's one of the greatest skilled players in the world. And I thought at the time, especially by the mid 80s, well, if he worked on his fitness and focus a little bit more in the game.
Well, coming from you, that is huge. Aziz Kaur was one of the most skilled players in the world. That's quite a big statement. Um,
But Aziz was fantastic with the
of course, he
ball.
could do. The guy can do
And
anything.
he loved the ball so much. He sometimes was just having fun with it. But I told him, what I'm saying is, Aziz realized what I was telling him, that he didn't have to dribble everybody all the time. And when he understood that, that improved his game because he was getting assists from me and so forth instead of dribbling all the time through the defense, which is what he was used to when he played at the lower level. When he played for Roots, he was just the man and, everything. When he came up to Young Africans, I had to talk to him and he realized that improved his game when I told him that I'll give the ball back to you in a better position. So don't be afraid to give it to me. And we had that chemistry also going and scored few goals together, assisting and scoring.
Yes, what a talent he was. Um, you also played with SFI in the national team. People say he's one of the best wingers ever. Well, this time we may have to end this program here. Hopefully, we'll get a better connection sometime. It's what it is, unfortunately.
language only Ukrainians, that's all. That if you are black, you should walk. I'm currently in Debrecen, Hungary. I got in like 10 a.m. today. Today is the 28th of February. It was